Reframing Mindset podcast, where I clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome back to Reframe Mindset podcast. It's concept. So in this episode, we'll talk about um, so, you know, talk about flossing, brushing teeth, and all this stuff. And yes, so this is how it actually keep your teeth healthy and all this stuff. So that's how it actually get yourself out of keeping your teeth healthy and all these stuff. But what happens is now this level, you have big, and this is the thing. And like these are the future. Like, yo, it's like you have to actually appreciate why these things are the future now. It's like yo, you have things like you have the electric or the one that use battery, you have the manual toothbrush and all these stuff and those floss, basic floss, and you have the floss that electric floss and all these stuff, floss that use battery and all these stuff. And what happens is that the difference between your teeth health and all these stuff is your ability to actually use those. Learn why it's important to do those stuff. Use the basic one correctly and actually going and using the more fancy one. And actually can afford the more fancy ones. The fancy ones you can actually just do that. Um, you can actually afford the fancy ones. Uh, that becomes a luxury now. You'll be like, okay, I naturally just go out and buy the ones that use the battery. I will naturally use electric toothbrush and stuff like that. And what happens is that you're so worrying about things like you're actually worried about things like when you actually upgrade to these stuff, these are better quality. But you actually do is worry about electric costs now, because the manual ones are cheap and you use less no light and stuff like that. But you're just buying using electricity now. But at the same time, there's a benefit for those stuff. We don't know what's the benefit yet, bro. And all this. But we don't know what that thing will be like. Okay, those are convenience now that you actually work for, or you put in the groundwork for it to actually have now. And it's like, okay, yeah, those those are luxury now. You like, these are ways. So that thing now, these are stuff now that's acknowledging out there, so reaching the new level where we like, oh, you're out there, so acknowledging the reality of these are important. These were the ways that we do it before. Now we're out there, so doing it better and all those stuff. And what happens is that you by you doing it better and stuff like that, you not only you save money as all those stuff, you actually make better decisions. Your decisions get you will naturally become an expert in somewhat in that stuff. You'll be like, oh, you naturally become somewhat knowledgeable. You're becomes knowledgeable in those stuff. You'll be like, oh, yo, we naturally don't do this anymore. It's good, and we know why. We know why we don't do this anymore. And all these stuff. We don't. It's like, oh, we naturally know why we don't do this anymore. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I know stuff, and it's like, so it's like, yeah, that's basically the stuff that you're also doing, and be like, yo, uh, those are simple upgrades where be like, yo, and these things are simple stuff, component. What happens is that yo, there's a using the basic stuff and getting them and using them when they turn old and you finish using them and then actually upgrade to the new stuff and stop using the old stuff. It's gonna be like bro back in the days, bro. That's every time we come in, it's like back in the days, bro. We just do this, bro. Every time I look is that I know stuff become easier. Like this is the 40th of ownership. What happens that when I actually do that and go back in the day, the home gets easier to manage. Because when you go like back in the days, we usually do this, buying groceries, everything like that. You're out there, so getting rid of the old stuff. That's the thing, you know, we always actually going out and getting rid of the old stuff and be like, okay, yeah, yo, and be like, yo, we back in the days we used to actually do this. Back in the days so we actually going out and these are stuff that wow, we're actually saying it now. I have to actually practice what I preach, you know, more and more. I'll be like, okay, maybe by the end of the this year, it'll be like you actually see the what it actually looks like of me getting the old and getting the new and stuff like that. So this is the thing where I'll be like, yo, oh, with the oh, these are stuff where I'll be like, oh, acknowledging that these are important, oh, the old with the new one. What happens is that these things compound in the sense, these things compound. And I think that these things just compound and we'll be like, okay, yo, there's a throwing up, getting rid of the old stuff. And it's like by getting rid of the old stuff, you you hope you will see what was why actually when you acknowledge that something is old and you get rid of it, you acknowledge the need of it in the home. You rationalize the need of it in the home. It's like, okay, now I see why this is important now. And get this thing now. It's like, okay, I get this thing now. Now it be like, okay, now I rationalize it. Now actually I get a better version of it. And actually I get a better version of it now. It be like, okay, this and this don't break, this don't break. This thing don't even break at all. And it's like, oh, okay. Now it doesn't break at all. And it's like, wow. But what happens is that we actually acknowledge the use of it. Then we actually buy the better quality. And it's like, okay, now we always maintain the quality now. Now we always better maintain the quality now. It's like, cool. That's cool. So that's basically the episode we were talking about. We actually out there so reaching with that toothbrush and stuff like that. We have the fit and flossing. At Nigeria, those stuff are actually important and actually go out and learn how to floss well and use the basic floss, the floss and all these stuff. Doing those stuff consistently. You know, you give me my it doesn't mean that it change anything, but what happens is that we actually use those floss. When you upgrade to the different kind of floss stuff now, you actually is moving away from the back in the days. You actually move away from the back in the days where you usually do this. So we're going to the future now and freeing up the ability to actually in the, invest in the future. And it's like that's the thing about the fourth level of the ownership and stuff like that. It's a decluttering. You're getting you're get this is the new level where be like you're out there so getting rid of the old and getting better quality stuff. You're out there so getting rid of the old. You're legit seeing the people legit seeing you out there so getting rid of the old. That's like, and what happens is that the old get so get so new, bro. That's the thing about this. That we're like, oh, the old get so new, bro. That's the funny thing where we're like, oh wow. And what happens is that because the old get so new, when you actually get the new stuff, it's actually better quality. And it's like, oh wow. That's actually the old is getting so new. So that's basically the thing for this episode where we're like, yo, getting rid of the old is the with the thing with toothbrush and flossing and stuff like that. You actually have to just go out and get. And there are different version of it. Um, if you can go ahead and start investing in the better quality of those stuff now, you first you have to acknowledge that these stuff are important now. That's the thing with the bathroom and stuff as well. So I think our bedroom and the kitchen and stuff like that. That's the stuff with the bathroom as well. Like, okay. You acknowledge that these stuff are the old products. We these were the way that we usually do it before we always are not doing it again. It's like, okay, this is the future now. This is the future now, and it's like, okay, we're not doing it this way. How and why is this important? Because what happened was that in this at this level, in my 29 years of going to this level, what happened was I was making so much purchases and being so cluttered. You know, I was making get the dream, getting employed and all this stuff. Achieving the dream that I was having issues to know what I was getting rid, what I should get rid of. And now actually just taking my time now to actually go through and quantify what I'm supposed to get rid of now. Actually talking about is actually get release myself to actually say, okay, when I get rid of it now, it's actually a quality get rid of. So those were the things that were those are the stuff that I actually come in and see now where be like, cool, cool. Those are I'm actually on the right track, but sometimes I just need time to actually stop. I actually need this time to stop to actually come in and be like, okay, let me just stop and get and do the stuff right, clear up all the stuff, then just make the right. And it's like those were the things where I be like, cool. But that's the funny thing about this level where I be like, out with the old, in with the new, out with the old, in with the new is a thing with is something that you actually have it what happens is that you naturally do certain stuff and you naturally out there to start doing it and it starts to come. But what happens is that you actually have to stop. So these are the levels. This is the levels that you're there to reaching now. It's actually when something becomes old, you get rid of it. That's basically the this level now, where you be like, okay, when something gets old, you get rid of. But sometimes you don't have you don't have the freedom of actually get rid of it either. Or you can, but uh, maybe you don't want to or stuff like that. But yeah, those are stuff where you be like, yeah, just get rid of it of the old and it's like there's investing. It opens your mind up to getting what's new, and then you uh so so, yeah. So I guess by the end of the year, you're going to see me out there. So see me. If I make it to the end of the year, you see me out there. So saying, okay, these are all stuff I try to get rid of. The old stuff there I try to get rid of. And be like, yo. Actually, I get rid of all those stuff now. You see me out there. So living the ball and life. It's like, okay, yeah. That was actually what. It took me actually getting rid of all those stuff to see the luxuries of out there. So living on this level now. And it's like, yeah. So that's basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode. Okay.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page Reframing Mindset Podcast or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.